Hey everyone, it's Casey. This is probably going to be my last video from this recording session. It's almost 6 p.m. and I haven't even had lunch. So I've been working since 1 p.m. recording videos. So for today, I want to talk about 10 things to know before coming to Taiwan. Probably do another video about this when I think of more things to know about. But let's just get straight into it. Number one, when you come to Taiwan, it will be very helpful to get a Line account. Now, Line, just as it's spelled Line, is basically a messenger system that a lot of people love in Taiwan. Even your employer sometimes may ask if they could add you online to contact you. Sometimes I'm not very comfortable with that in some cases. I would just say stick to email. But when it comes to friends and networking, I think Line is very helpful, and it's also really cute. You get to add stickers and things like that. Instead of gifts or GIFs, I call it gifts. If instead of gifts, you just have stickers, you could download them, you could buy them. They're all really, really cute. So yeah, get a Line account. And again, there was one time I actually lost my phone, and my cousin used Line to call my phone, and the police officer was able to pick up the phone call from the Line account because it just shows on your home screen, and he just opens it, and he was able to answer and tell me where my phone was. So Line is actually very helpful in case you lose stuff like your phone. All right, number two. It's not an ice cream truck. I may have talked about this one time in another video, but it's very interesting in Taiwan. When you're in Taiwan, you'll hear basically like a Beethoven type of sonata that happens throughout the day in different places at different times. And basically that is not the ice cream truck, but the garbage disposal. So it's rather odd. When I first came here, because you guys know I'm from California, I was so excited, and I looked outside. I was like, that doesn't look like ice cream. And it was actually the garbage disposal. So if you don't know, I think it's in my other video, I talk about it, is how to handle with your waste and your garbage in Taiwan. Basically, the garbage truck comes around during certain times, depending on your neighborhood, and you kind of have to chase after him if your place doesn't provide a place for you to dump your waste and your garbage. So good stuff to know about. Don't chase after the Beethoven sonata that's happening outside. All right. Number three is about security guards. Security guards, in case you're wondering, if you don't have a 7-Eleven or Family Mart near you, where I talk about buying stuff online, you can check out that video. They can accept packages for you, so just sometimes you can make a notation to the seller or something like that, or to your friends. Just make a notation to the postman or postwoman that you want the security card to accept your package on behalf of you. And also, one thing to make sure you do is if you have friends from abroad sending you packages, make sure you have both Chinese and English addresses, but you must have the Chinese address if possible. If you don't, there were instances where my packages were lost because the English version of the addresses are so long. So for example, if you're buying from an online retailer from the States or from any English speaking country, most of the times when they print out the labels, the addresses are cut off and your packages will get lost. So if you have a short address in English, it's fantastic. So, but in cases they're not, if possible, always include both the Chinese on the label as well as your phone number. I even put my email just in case, so they have all means to contact me for my packages. And there were instances, because I left my email, customs actually contacted me through my email that was printed on there just to tell me, how to work out the customs issues. So something to keep in mind. Number four is about noise. Noise is quite a huge thing if you're not used to it, especially in Taiwan. There are many instances where people have little scooters and they like to modify their scooters so that they don't have any mufflers, so it sounds more like a motorcycle. And to be honest, I don't quite get it because it's a tiny rinky-dink scooter and you're on this tiny thing trying to sound like a big boy, like a big motorcycle. I don't get it, but that could be rather annoying. And one thing to keep in mind, if you've seen my first apartment video from way back when, there's a lot of issues if you happen to live near a night market, or even worse, a morning market. So something to keep in mind, if you're very sensitive to noise, keep those in mind. Scooters, not a fun deal. All right, number 5, probably one of the most important, probably should have mentioned it first, is places close early as well as in between, in the middle of the day, for some places in Taiwan. For example, banks usually close around 3:30 p.m., at least in Hsinchu, that I've checked, and they are not open on weekends. Unlike banks in the States, where, for example, let's say a bank in a supermarket or something is open till 7 sometimes. So just to keep in mind, stuff closes pretty early when it belongs to like the government. Like the tax bureau closes really early. Anything governmental closes typically rather early. So keep those in mind. Also, that isn't open on weekends. Same thing with the post office. It closes at 5 p.m. and also not open on weekends because it belongs to the government as well. And restaurants, interestingly enough, close sort of in the middle of the day. And if you go to the countryside, privately owned shops, like mom and pop shops, whether it's to fix watches or to, make you a stamp, which I talk about in my banking video, also close in the middle of the day. Typically it will be around like 2:30 to 4 when it comes to restaurants. At least in Hsinchu, it will close during those hours. So typically I'm stuck at the 7-Eleven to eat at those places. But if they're bigger, like franchises, let's say McDonald's obviously, or different other franchises, they won't close during those times sometimes. So be aware, if you have a favorite restaurant, make sure you check the hours in which they are open. All right, number 6, I found this quite interesting, and I'm pretty sure it's throughout Taiwan. But in the States, the traffic posts are technically on our right-hand side. So it's right in front of us when we look at which traffic, post or traffic light to look at. But in Taiwan, it's on our left-hand side. So for me, it was really confusing because I thought it belonged to the other lane. So I'm not sure about other countries, but in Taiwan, it's sort of on the left-hand side as opposed to right in front of us where it's towards our right hand side. And I couldn't think of any other cases in California where I saw on the left hand side like Taiwan. And just traffic lights in general are really confusing in Taiwan. Sometimes they're in the middle of the road and it's just really confusing which lane it belongs to. It looks like a post of just traffic lights to different lanes from all angles 360 degrees. So something to keep in mind. What I would suggest is if you're riding a scooter, watch someone in the same lane as you go first, or maybe even a few before you head off as well in the same direction into oblivion. All right, so number 7, this is probably pretty standard, is keep looking both ways whenever you're crossing the roads in Taiwan at all times. Pedestrians are not first in Taiwan, ever. So number 8, that kind of leaves me, road rage is probably the worst I've seen in the countries I've been in. Although I haven't been to many countries in my life, but road rage is rather extreme in Taiwan. So be aware, if you do ride a scooter or you drive a car, try not to honk your horn unless it's absolutely necessary. There have been cases where people have honked their horns and they were met with a very physical confrontation. In fact, sometimes they had machetes when they came out and were, swinging at them with them, or with golf clubs or fist fights. So just keep it in mind. They have extreme road rage, try to cut each other off and things like that. So just let it go. You just don't want to go that way because of road rage. I kind of mentioned this in another video, is paper size is different in Taiwan. So if you ever bring binders or something from the States where it's 8.5 by 11 inches, it's not going to fit the Taiwanese paper or documents, things like that. So you can, but it's just going to be a funny size. And the last one I want to mention, number 10, is let's say if you're moving or you buy something big or heavier, you could actually go to your convenience store like 7-Eleven or Family Mart and ask them to ship it then and there to another nearby 7-Eleven or Family Mart near you, wherever you're picking it up. So you don't have to carry it and lug it all the way back. Let's say if you go to Kunting and you buy something a little bit bigger or heavier, you could package it all up and then ship it to your, let's say, back to Taipei or something like that. Super convenient. There might, and I'm pretty sure there are, weight and size restrictions. I'm not sure about weight, but I do know with size, it's actually pretty decent how big they can be. I mean, I don't mean like massive packages, but when it comes to like regular standard size packages, they're actually quite, not bad. So you can actually do that. I remember my cousin, he shipped his blanket that he really smushed down into a box, and he just shipped it to Taipei from another city just because he didn't want to lug it all the way back home. So use your local 7-Elevens and Family Marts to your advantage. All right, so I hope you find those 10 things to be helpful when you come to Taiwan and, live around here and try to get used to the lifestyle. I hope all of these were helpful. As you can see, the sun is setting down, so I hope to see you guys soon. Let me know what you guys think and what kind of questions you have. Otherwise, have a good day or evening wherever you are, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.